Well, hello, and welcome to Tom Rhodes Radio Smart Camp. I have spent the last month in the glorious state of Oregon. I tried to record a podcast last week standing on Cannon Beach. My girlfriend lives in Portland. We've been exploring Oregon, and Cannon Beach was just so beautiful with this haystack rock, this omnipresent just like protector of the beach almost. It's this massive, wonderful beach. And I had started to do a podcast because I wanted everybody to hear the sounds of the Pacific Ocean. And then my recorder, the battery died. So I'm doing it now. My girlfriend and we've got so much to talk about, and all these trips I've taken all over Oregon for the past month. Oregon is my France this year. I had planned on going to France and taking a really nice trip and going to the south and different places I had never been. So with COVID and everything that's happened, I spent all these months with my mom in Los Angeles, and then I spent a month by myself, and then finally I got to see my girlfriend in Portland. And we've been taking these epic trips all over Oregon and exploring the furthest reaches of Oregon. So I'm enjoying everything there is about Oregon, and it's great. It's very daring to travel now, but driving, it's a 958 miles from Los Angeles to Portland. I'm treating Oregon like my France this year. And right now, today's Friday, we're driving south on Highway 101 through Oregon. We just stopped in this town called Lincoln City. Nice little town. Stopped at the prehistoric fossil store shop, mini museum. Then we went to a cute little antique store, avoiding people at all times, not touching anything, sanitizing our hands, getting in the car, always wearing masks. And now we're 20 miles south of Lincoln City, and we pulled off on this vista point, and if there's a really nice grass area and a bench that looks out on the Pacific Ocean, and then we followed this path around, and we found, and the sign said Whale Cove. So I'm talking to you right now from Whale Cove, Oregon. It's part of the Oregon State Parks, wherever there's a fancy state sign. And it says Whale Cove. So right now I'm looking out onto this rocky little mini bay, and we just talked to a guy by the public restrooms. He kept a distance, but he said that he's staying in a hotel not far from here, and that on his balcony he can see whales. And all day right now it's like there's whales, and there was a little boat with tourists hoping to see whales, but now they're gone. Anyway, I want you to listen to the sounds of the Pacific Ocean slamming up these rocks, the force of nature. Everybody's so stressed out now. The best thing you can do for your brain is to go into nature and be with those you love, of course. If you can combine those two, all the better. So listen, enjoy the sound of the Pacific Ocean from Whale Cove, Oregon. That was exactly 1 full minute of the sound of the Pacific Ocean from Oregon. Who else is going to bring you this on their podcast? So let me ask my traveling companion, How would you describe the scene that we're looking at now?
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it's just so stunning. The sky is all blue with hints of yellow, and we can see these black birds in the distance, which I really like. I don't know what they are, but they're really cool, and we're gonna find out, I'm sure. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I hope you're peaceful and happy and safe and sound wherever you're at in the world. I'm going to keep this conversation going in a little bit. I just wanted to share with you this big slice of happiness in nature that I was experiencing right now. So we'll bring the podcast back momentarily. Hello, my lovelies. This is 50 miles south of where I last talked to you. We drove through Newport. We stopped at some little seafood shack. There was a lot of people in line. They weren't really respecting the 6-foot rule, which is a little stressful. But we picked up some fried halibut and fried shrimp. And normally I love a seafood shack along the roadside, but this one was a little greasy. I'd say skip it. And a little further down the road, I'll find out the name of it. We basically have this entire beach to ourselves right now. Very far off in the distance, there's like two couples having a bonfire. They're like, God, that's what, 4 or 5 football fields? I'm actually standing right next to the Pacific Ocean, right next to the water. There's so much going on in America right now. It feels like dark forces of fascism and hatred are just kind of killing democracy. Not kind of, they're killing democracy. And there's so much hate and anger in the world right now. Holy shit, it's so peaceful to come to the ocean. Oh, here comes the foamy stuff. I'm tiptoeing, I'm moving a little quicker. Uh-oh. And I just outran it. Okay, so I just wanted to come up. That last stop was Whale Cove. Wow, it's so beautiful and misty. Okay, listen to the Pacific Ocean. It's like listening to a shell, isn't it? I'm pretty happy in life right now. I hope you guys are doing good wherever you're at. Are you happy?
I'm very happy.
Girlfriend whose name I won't say?
I am so happy right now.
You got your feet off the Pacific Ocean.
That's right.
Is really cold.
Yeah, it's really
In California it's really cold, and rarely can you ever swim in it. And in Oregon it's like really cold.
Yeah.
So is it cold on your feet?
Yes, they're pretty much numb right now.
Look at all these birds to my left. Those are like seagulls. They're all kind of squatting.
There's one crane.
And one crane. Okay, I'm going to let you listen to the Pacific a little bit more. And then we're going to move on with some conversation on the highway. Our next town is Florence, Oregon. Listen to this. I love you all very much. Hopefully this brings you calm and peace. I think we can thank the movie Il Postino for this moment, because the guy had a Pablo Neruda left behind a tape recorder, and then his post office friend, the mailman, took his recorder all around the island, and he recorded the sounds of the island so that Pablo Neruda wouldn't forget that island in the middle of the Mediterranean. Oh, the birds are flying past. How lovely. Mirror reflection of the sky and the clouds on the wet sand. I should do self-help tapes. How does this make you feel?
really good. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a dream right now.
It is like a dreamscape, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool because you can see the sky reflected on the ground. You can't tell where the horizon is.
And it's kind of like a dream because we're the only ones here. I can't believe it. All right. Hooray for humanity. Hooray for Oregon. And hooray for you, wherever you happen to be in the world. And we are back. And now I'm in Portland, Oregon with my girlfriend. We're recording this part of the podcast in her bedroom. And just to give you a feeling of the intimacy, we started out at Whale Cove and then Ona Beach. That's where we were. It was called Ona Beach. I didn't know when we pulled over. And I want to say thank you for your patience. It's been a month since I put out a podcast, and my listeners are so wonderful. My man Benny in Copenhagen shot me $50 on PayPal, and Mark in San Francisco sent me $50. And I know they didn't mean it this way, but I kind of took that as like a nudge to put out a podcast. And I love my listeners and the fact that they don't get angry with me if I need a month to pull my shit together. So 1 month ago, I drove to Portland to be with my girlfriend and slept in a rest area right before the Oregon border. And then for the past month, when she's been free of her obligations, we have been taking trips around Oregon. So, God, where should we start? I've got the AAA map of Oregon in my hand, and we've been highlighting the roads that we've been driving on. So, should we start with last night?
Last night we ended up going to the 99W drive-in theater.
The name of the theater is 99W. Mm-hmm. It's a bizarre name, but one of the few drive-in movie theaters left in America. And it's in Newberg, Oregon.
Yeah, we loved it.
So it was your idea. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Please continue.
We were nervous that we wouldn't be able to make it, but we got there just in time. Yeah, and we saw The Outsiders, which was wonderful.
And that's, I read the book when I was in 8th grade. I was happy to hear you tell me you read the book in 8th grade. You also loved that movie.
Yeah.
I still love the movie. Matt Dillon is a complete asshole. He's mean. There's nothing likable about him.
He's really mean.
But Pony Boy, Soda Pop, there's so many great quotable lines of dialogue from that movie, like, what was it? Back off, Hood. Get away from me, Hood. And then my favorite scene when Emilio Estevez is walking with C. Thomas Howell and Ralph Macchio when the Socias pull up and they're messing with him, and because they're talking to Cherry Valance, and the Soch kid says, "We got 2 more in the back seat." And then Emilio Estevez breaks his beer bottle on the fence, and he says, "Pity the back seat." I love it. What a great movie.
So good.
Pony Boy, I never thought about rainbows and flowers and sunsets until you always started talking about him so much. Stay gold, Pony Boy. So we actually saw the Outsiders at a movie theater in Newberg, Oregon last night. And the last drive-in movie theater I went to, when I had the Dutch travel show, I filmed a highlight on Aruba, and in the center of the island of Aruba is a drive-in movie theater, and we had rented a Jeep, so they filmed me sitting in the Jeep, like open air top, eating popcorn, and the movie was Looney Tunes, so I was watching Bugs Bunny eating. So that's been 16 years since I've been to a drive-in.
Wow, yeah. I went maybe 3 years ago in Ontario. That was cool, but I don't remember what I watched. I don't know, but I've always wanted to go to a drive-in movie in Oregon. It was a really cool experience.
Well, it's funny, like, it seemed like that was something that was dying in America. Like, there's there's some kind of alliance of drive-in movie theater owners, and I know there's like less than 100 drive-in movie theaters. And I was thinking that's something that's becoming extinct in North American culture. But now with COVID-19, maybe that's going to make a resurgence. Maybe drive-in theaters are going to come back. I know from seeing friends of mine, comedians are starting to do shows like that, where it's like it's at a drive-in and cars are parked in a parking lot. I saw Jim Gaffigan did a show recently. I would prefer not to do shows like that myself, and I still haven't done any Zoom shows or anything. But what do you think? Is that everybody's going to go back to doing shit in their cars like it was the 1950s?
It'd be really cool. I'd love it. We want to go next weekend too. We should do it every weekend.
We should do it every weekend. So here, let me unfold the map. You and I, it's great. We met in Portland, and then when I was here right before the weekend, we were together for 2 weeks right before the pandemic hit, and we ate at this wonderful restaurant. And the name, it was called Jacqueline. And remember, the waiter told us it was inspired by the Bill Murray movie Life Aquatic.
Yeah.
And that was the name of his ship that had the name Jacqueline crossed out because, like, the girl broke his heart or something. But that was in March we ate there, like the first week of March. And we had this pear, fig, and arugula salad with feta cheese crumbles. This salad, it was so amazing.
It was so good. Yeah.
And I've since recreated it. I've talked about it on the podcast. And I remember right before I drove up to Oregon last month, I made this salad, and I took a picture of it, and I posted it on Instagram, and I put, guess who I'm voting for? And then like about 10 minutes went by, and it was just eating at my head, and I thought, why politicize the salad? Just take a picture of your salad. Like, I don't post too many pictures of food, you know, but like, it was such a delicious salad. But, you know, why politicize a salad? There's, you know, if you're on the fence as to as to how to vote right now, I don't think my picture of a salad is going to sway you. So, that was another observation we had last night watching it was interesting because in The Outsiders, the Socs and the Greasers are fighting constantly and they hate each other. And we're in Portland, and every night downtown there's this clash between white supremacists and the Black Lives Matter protesters. And just like in The Outsiders, I wonder, why don't the cops stop it if they know that it's happening?
Yeah. And
they're standing on the perimeters and they're watching it.
Right. Yeah. Why doesn't the mayor do anything?
Yeah.
Right.
And then maybe we should talk about this for a second. The last weekend there was, I guess 1 week ago from today, there was, a week ago, there was a guy murdered, and he was with the Patriot Prayer group. And you and I, in March, were walking around downtown.
Yeah. And
we saw this group, and we saw these people, and they were praying, and they had Patriot Prayer T-shirts on. Mm-hmm. And I said, let's walk closer. And they were praying, and then we walked further up the thing, and then they had American flags, and they all had cameras, camera phones mounted, so they could film they all had like selfie sticks filming themselves.
Right.
And they walked around hassling people, and they were thugs. And I was talking to my mom about this a few days ago. Mm-hmm. But like, if people hear prayer patriots or whatever, they're going to think a certain thing. Right. These were not gentle religious people. These were like white supremacists, thug people. And I don't know if I told the story on the podcast before, but there was a Native American woman. We've found out, she told us her story. There was another woman stopped us and asked us, can you guys stay here? This group is dangerous and they might cause violence. unless some people are here.
Right.
So we stood. This woman is standing on a cement, like kind of
Block.
public block,
Yeah.
like a public seating in a public square. And she had on her military fatigues with her name on it because she had served in the army. So this was her army clothes, and her face was painted in war paint. She told us, I forget what specifically she was like protesting, whatever, but she had she was flying an upside down American flag.
Right.
And these goons come marching up the square, and I'll never forget, this guy goes, why are you flying the American flag upside down? That's a distress signal. Are you in distress? And she goes, I don't speak to Nazis. And he said one of the most mind-numbingly stupid things I've ever heard a human being say. He said, it's actually anti-Semitic to call someone a Nazi. It's disrespectful to all the people who lost their lives in World War II.
Wow.
Yeah, the Nazis are why those people died in World War II.
Yeah.
And it was just such a deflective statement of idiocy that is very rampant in this country.
Yeah.
What do you remember from that day in the Prayer Patriots?
Everyone was just really very aggressive. I found that the Prayer Patriots were just like, they were trying to get a rise out of everyone. I don't know. I just have
they were going for a reaction, and that's why they were filming everything.
Yeah.
On their selfie sticks, and it seemed like they were provoking people, and even they tried to provoke us a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? Remember?
Right. We didn't want to talk to them either.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty disturbing. I really admire that woman.
I do too.
That takes a lot of guts. She was there alone. You know?
She was there alone.
Yeah.
For her, this was like on a Saturday. This was her weekend protest, and I've got news for you. If you are a Native American, you can fly the American flag any way you fucking please.
You're right.
And if you're Native American, I think your life is a distress signal, and you should be allowed to stand into a main square of an American city without white supremacist goons posing as a religious group,
right?
A patriotic religious group. I tried to explain this to my brother Dave the last time I spoke to him, that Jesus was the Prince of Peace, not the Prince of Fuckwits. So this group was definitely a group of fuckwits, and
yes,
and we wouldn't. But like people following the news right now. And especially like Fox News watchers and stuff, they hear like prayer patriot, it's the white victimhood and just people thinking Christianity's under attack when white Christians run every aspect of American society basically. I mean, what do you think? Okay, maybe we should veer this to happier topics. I got a really nice email from my man Jason in Phoenix, and he's got his dog, and he said that he hasn't had a hug or a handshake in 6 months.
Oh.
And I felt really bad for him, and I love Jason. He listens to and I'm sending you a safe distance hug right now, Jason. But
me too.
Hey. But that's exactly why I drove to Oregon, was to get some hugs.
Aw.
Oh.
I'll give you hugs.
Okay, so and another amazing thing is I've posted pictures of Portland on social media, and friends of mine have commented, "What's it like there? I can't get a feel from the news." It's really quiet and it's really lovely.
Yeah.
Portland is in perfect plush summer mode right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you only live 15 minutes from downtown. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Every night we hear crickets and watch beautiful sunsets over the treetops. And I think a lot of people think that the city's on fire, basically.
Right. Yeah, I think that there are a lot of situations that we have the privilege of not observing and being there for, but we've been having a really pleasant experience. It's been beautiful. Summer days, going on walks, enjoying the nature. There's been a lot of BLM art and graffiti on the walls.
All over the city. Great
gorgeous
stuff.
Yeah, really powerful. It's been great seeing how the city's been shifting, and yeah.
The two coolest streets in Portland, Mississippi Street and Alberta Street.
Right.
And I remember when I met you, and you told me that, and I said, so Portland named the two coolest streets after the two shittiest places in North America.
Yeah.
But those are great streets, and there's like tons of great. I took pictures of a lot of the BLM artwork and graffiti, and what was I going to say? Oh, Mississippi Records. It's actually on Albina Street, not on Mississippi. Ron Bennington told me this years ago, and I know you've heard me say this before, but if you're having a lot of problems in your life and you're stressed out, nothing relieves your stress like 70s funk. So yesterday we went over to Mississippi Records and I bought Curtis Mayfield's Roots. I highly recommend the Curtis Mayfield record Roots. And then I also bought the Parliament Funkadelic record, The Clones of Dr. Funkenstein. Yeah. And then when so we'll talk about our trips. And so on some of our trips, like one of our trips, we went to the Dalles, and we went to a used record. There was a used record store.
Yeah.
And I got these two Bootsy Collins records, and one's called "Stretching Out In," Bootsy's rubber band, and then the other one is the name is Bootsy, baby. So we listened to that, and so these are real great stress relievers, make you happy and get your ass wiggly. But the great thing about Bootsy Collins is you can't listen to Bootsy Collins without starting to do impressions of Bootsy Collins. And it's always like, it's Bootsy, baby. Hey, baby, it's Bootsy. I'm here for some funk. How about you? It's always like such a Hanna-Barbera cartoon voice.
It is, yeah.
Hey, I'm Yogi Bear, baby.
Oh my God, yeah. We love Bootsy.
We're a Bootsy family. And then I haven't listened to it yet either. I got this Curtis Mayfield Live. It's called Curtis Live. 2-record set, $8.
Cool.
Anyway, okay, so here's our map.
It's beautiful.
Look at this. So I went to AAA before I drove to Oregon, and I got some free maps. Look at all that. So here's the highlight of our trips.
We covered a lot of ground.
So should we start with Astoria? I think Astoria was one of our first trips.
Yeah.
And that's where they filmed The Goonies.
Uh-huh.
Did you? It's been so long since I've seen The Goonies.
It's been a long time. Yeah. But it's a beautiful city. It's gorgeous.
Well, and it's cool because it's where the Columbia River comes in from the ocean, and there's these wonderful houses up on the hills, and we were driving, and remember we saw that the 7 deer in these people's yard, and it was like right at sunset. I took pictures, I shot some video, and then those houses, you can see like the whole bay entrance to this river. Mm-hmm. And I think it'd be a wonderful place to, I don't know if I'd live there, but it's a wonderful place to visit.
Yeah. And we also saw those 2 little baby boy deers playing. Their antlers just, they had
this kind of soft antlers.
Yeah.
They look like Nerf antlers.
Yeah, they did.
And they were smacking their heads. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. In Portland, you Googled best natural places to go swimming.
Yes.
And so we've been going to this place called Poets Beach. And it's right on the river. It's such a great secret spot in Portland. There's never been more than 20 people there. Mm-hmm. And it's directly under the bridge that is Interstate 5. and it's cool. You're underneath a highway overpass, but it's other than a couple weeks ago when there was all those boats with the Trump flags,
Right.
Ripping up and down the river. It just it's a strange time in America.
It is. Yeah. I booed them.
She booed them. And then the other place that we've been enjoying in Portland is Council Crest Park.
Yeah, that's
to
been
go
beautiful.
up there at sunset. So I think those are the two best things that we've discovered where we've been chilling.
Yeah. We're going there tonight.
To Council Crest Park?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
To visit with your friends.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
On blankets, a safe distance apart.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's right.
that's right. Okay, so what other trips should we...
Ooh, we've been to so many places.
Remember the 3-state... I think we did 2 days, 2 trips that were...
3 states?
Yes. Because the first one we wanted to go to Pendleton, and Pendleton, it didn't look as great as we thought, and then we drove up to Walla Walla, Washington, had lunch there. The downtown Walla Walla, Washington is enchanting.
Gorgeous, yeah.
And it was a nice, warm Saturday afternoon, and then we drove up to, turn over the map. In Idaho. Clarkston? Was that it? Oh, yeah, here.
Oh, no.
Right there.
That is Clarkston.
Clarkston.
Yeah.
So we went to Pendleton, Oregon, Walla Walla, Washington, Clarkston, Idaho, and then we drove down. It's like the total southeastern corner of Washington was so beautiful, where they had those dry brown mountains and the road was S-ing around, and remember there was cows in the road?
Oh my gosh, yes. And we saw these cows beside the mountain too, and it was so beautiful.
It was beautiful.
It was so beautiful.
And then and we're not staying in hotels, we're avoiding people wherever we can.
Yeah. All we wanted to do was see some cows.
That's right. Oh yeah, then we went to Bend one day. Bend was cool, and we went to the very last Blockbuster video. Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
Like taking a time machine.
It was like a time machine, and they now have DVDs instead of VHSs, but it's still the same store, and it's set up the way it was. And then there was a thing on the news like 2 days before we got there that you can Airbnb and sleep in there and have like parties and stuff.
A little slumber party there.
Yeah. And then another day we went to Crater Lake. Remember?
That was beautiful.
Now that's got to be the crown jewel of Oregon.
Yeah.
And if you it's great. Like not many people can travel now. It's great that I could drive up here and we can take these day trips. But that's definitely the crown jewel of Oregon. I'd say Crater Lake and Cannon Beach. That was another one that I loved.
Cannon Beach is so gorgeous. Yeah. Wow.
Well, it's funny that I wanted to go to France this past summer, but that got canceled. So this year, Oregon is my France. I wanted to spend a couple weeks just like exploring just offbeat places in France I had never been to before. And now, because you live here, I'm treating Oregon like my France. And I absolutely love it. We did this trip yesterday. So we drove to Cannon Beach. Cannon Beach is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then we drove down where we stopped in. Somebody told me to go to Hug Beach, Hug Point. There was too many people there, so we kept driving. And remember, we were starving, and we stopped at that Thai restaurant.
Oh God, yeah.
Manzanita is the name of the town,
yeah.
And it's called a Mighty Thai. And there was a hair in your food.
Twice, actually. Yeah, I ordered my curry chicken and there was a hair in it the first time. I sent it back, and then it came back with another hair in it. So it wasn't very appetizing.
Yeah,
I wasn't a fan.
The guy wasn't apologetic enough.
Yeah.
It was a big portly white guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
And then if you just served a customer, they had an outdoor patio. We weren't inside. Mm-hmm. We haven't been eating inside any restaurants.
Yeah.
So if you just had a plate of food sent back with a hair on it, that next plate that's going to replace it, wouldn't you inspect it?
Right, before serving it.
But they sent it out and had another hair on it.
Yeah, and it was really obvious.
I think the cook was being a dick, and I think he took the same hair and put it back on the food. I'm going to see if she notices.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they also got your order wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like
I had ordered Penang beef, and they brought me Penang chicken.
Yeah. The hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
Penang it.
Yeah.
And then so we started this Arcadia Beach was really nice, but then after that bad lunch thing, so when my dad used to take us on family vacations, he would never stop, and it always drove us nuts. So I always like to stop everywhere, and I like to stop at vista points and see the view. So we stopped at this vista point yesterday, and it was it's called Whale Cove. It's part of the Oregon National Parks, and we went straight across the big lawn of grass to the edge cliff, and there was a beautiful bench there looking out on the Pacific. And then we went back by where the public toilets were. There was a path that went into the woods. We're in no rush. We don't have jobs. The world is at a standstill. So sure, we'll follow a path that goes into the woods. Yeah. And that led us to Whale Cove.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful. And that's where this podcast, this episode, began. Remember, I did the recording.
Right. Yeah.
So that was heavenly. And then we drove on past, we liked Lincoln City.
Lincoln City was very cool.
We hit a nice antique store.
Yes.
And then we hit prehistoric fossils.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Never saw dinosaur poop before or a raptor's tooth, but that was a cute stop. And then after Newport, Oregon, is a town called South Beach, and they had a classic old seafood shack. And this is the kind of shit I love. Ever since Michelle Rankin was this good friend of mine, lived in my neighborhood, and her father owned a car lot. Wonderful people. And they were big seafood people. And they turned me on to crab, and they would take me to places in Florida like these. They're the ones that made me fall in love with a nice seafood shack on the side of the road. So it looked like that, but there was a bunch of super spreaders out front with... So a lot of people didn't have masks. A lot of people weren't keeping 6 feet away. So our stress levels were through the roof.
Yeah.
While we ordered this food to go.
Uh-huh.
But we got the food to go, and we're standing out in the parking lot, away from people. And then all their picnic tables are full, and we didn't want to stay there. We didn't feel comfortable. So we were just basically looking for a place to eat our greasy ass fried seafood. So we pulled over to the first place about 5-10 miles south on 101. And it was another Oregon State beach, and it was Ona Beach. Yeah. O-N-A. Beach. And we ate the food in the parking lot. It was a little tiny parking lot. And then we walked down the sand path to the beach. And it was this massive beach. It was so beautiful. And it was about 7 p.m. And the clouds and the last sunlight of the day, it was like this mirror image on the wet sand. We took a bunch of beautiful photos.
It looked like heaven.
Yeah. It was like two couples about 5 football fields away from us, sitting around a campfire. And other than that, we had this entire beach to ourselves.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. So, what else? And then I guess the other big trip was when we took this big circle Oh, yeah. So then we made it to Florence. Remember, we stopped at
Yes.
the Dutch Brothers Coffee, and I asked the teenage girl, what's the name of this town? It's Florence, Oregon. You're in Florence, Oregon. She was proud. Made me happy. You don't see civic pride like that every day. You're in Florence, Oregon. So from Florence, we drove inland to Eugene and then took the 5 back to Portland. So the big epic trip that we did, what was that, a week ago?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and I told my girlfriend in order to do this, we would have to sleep in the car, and you were game. Mm-hmm. My mom and I slept in the car in December, but it wasn't our choice. When we drove up to do this winery gig I had in Carmel, it was in December. To me, that seems like a few years ago.
Wow.
But you and I, in order to pull off this astronaut mission, we woke up at 7 a.m. I think we left at like 9, 10 in the morning. And then we drove. Oh, yeah. So twice I've almost run out of gas. That has been fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's nothing like driving 30 miles, 30 to 50 miles, completely stressed out and worried that you're going to break down on the side of the road.
Lincoln City was where we got gas.
Lincoln City. And then the first time was Ontario, mm-hmm. which is all the way on the other side of Oregon, right on the border. We drove all the way from Portland to Ontario. We got there, I think it was about 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And we just rolled into there with fumes and fortunately gassed up, didn't break down. And then we took this, what does that say?
Which part?
The highway number.
Oh, 20.
Then we took Highway 20 from Ontario into, God, remember that? And we missed our turn all that way.
Oh, yeah. And
we went about 50 miles in the wrong direction.
It was so dark.
So then, what is that, Riley?
Yes.
So then at Riley, we went down, what's the number of that street?
395.
395. Then from Riley, we took 395. Absolutely stunning. And we drove to Lakeview, mm-hmm. Oregon. And we slept in the Safeway parking lot.
Yeah.
Which is a grocery store.
Yes.
And I'm surprised that we actually got a few hours sleep. We slept decent.
Yeah, we passed out.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
And there was a Jerry's Diner right next to the Safeway, and I went in there. We woke up. I went in and got us coffees, and then we woke up and I used the bathroom in Safeway 4 times. I really didn't buy a single thing, but I wore out that bathroom. And then I bought us breakfast at Jerry's Diner, and we sat there in that parking lot, waking up, drinking coffee and having breakfast. That was interesting. And then we drove completely. We from Lakeview is a short drive to the Oregon-California border, and it's near Goose Lake. And so we just wanted to drive down and see this part of the map and see if we could take a look at Goose Lake. And after we crossed the California border, there's a guy on the side of the road, and it said Plum Wine Winery. So
that seemed really cool.
Yeah, I mean, how often can you get your hands on some plum wine?
Yeah. So
we went in there, and you went in. I waited, mm-hmm. And why don't you tell the story?
Yeah, no, it was. I wanted plum wine, but they ran out. So I looked at the plum gin. It seemed very cool. The guy was hyping it up a lot. And yeah, I got that. I got a big bottle. But he was telling us that the place we wanted to go to, Plush.
Yeah, he asked. Yeah. So one of the whole reasons when we looked at the map, and we wanted to go to Plush, and so you bought you're buying some plum gin from the guy, and he asked you, where are you going?
Yeah, and I said Plush, and he gave me a look and said that there was nothing out there. It was going to be very boring.
Didn't he say, why would you go there?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But we did end up going to Plush, and it was beautiful. We loved it.
But yeah, the drive to Plush. So, but let me just say this before we talk about Plush. You know, a lot of Oregon is a lot like California. You drive around outside of the city, and it's very rural, a lot of farmland. We saw a lot of Trump flags, and I think it's easy for people in like rural, faraway places to get carried away with themselves with like white supremacy groups or hate groups, or even become politically radicalized on however their political feelings are. And then there's other people who fall into the dark hole of internet pornography who live in these rural areas. So right now I want to take a moment to praise the rural man who has dedicated his life to making alcoholic beverages out of plums. I mean, isn't that better than joining a hate group or like getting lost in pornography?
Way better.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're doing a nice thing for humanity. And I don't drink, but if I got like what, 3 or 4 more years to go till I hit my 10-year mark, and plum wine sounds really nice. So then we drove to Plush, Oregon.
Yes.
From there, and real little roads, and we just wanted to go to Plush, Oregon because we liked the name.
Nice
Plush
name.
is one of my favorite words, and we saw on the map they had Plush, Oregon. So going up, you go from Lakeview to Adele, Oregon. I can't believe she's from there. I'm kidding. And then from Adele, you take this little road up to Plush, and there's 3 lakes that when you're driving along the road. It was so beautiful. And then we saw that one rock waterfall right before Adele.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oregon is so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And there's so much like just the western side of the state has desert, and there's mountains, and there's rivers, there's lakes, there's creeks, there's the ocean. I can't say enough good things about Oregon.
Anything you want, it's there.
Everything you want. And Plush was beautiful. That Heart Lake, right before you get to Plush, was really beautiful. And then we headed back, and we went through. Remember this green pine nature preserve, whatever that is. What does that say on there?
Let's see. What's it called?
Does it say anywhere on the? So we drove from Lakeview to Klamath Falls.
Yes.
And then through Medford to Grants Pass. And you and I went to Grants Pass at the end of February.
Yeah. And
we loved their antique stores there. I mean, I've got like just a couple of records, and no purchases more than $20, mm-hmm. but it's cool looking for weird, odd.
You got me a cool a large Curious George tin too that I hold my letters in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been very romantic since we started dating, and we write each other letters, and your favorite color is yellow, and it's a Curious George tin. It was yellow, and you put your letters from me in there.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. I have a nice wooden box that I put yours in. So, yeah. So that was that trip. And what are your thoughts on us traveling around Oregon?
I love it. I want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do it in the fall too, when all the trees are different colors. I feel like going back to these same places and exploring more would be really fun, because it would just be a whole new experience, different times of the year. Where should we go next?
Well, tomorrow we might do the John Day fossil beds. And from what I've seen online, there's the Painted Desert in Arizona. There's the Navajo and Hopi reservations are there. It's kind of above that. And it's just so beautiful what the erosion, like these multicolored bluffs and cliffs. And that's what that John Day fossil beds looks like multi-layered, multicolored kind of desert mountains. It's just
cool.
It's just amazing the diverse geography that Oregon has. Oregon. Oh yeah. So here's a couple things we need to talk about. So you had never seen the movie Sometimes a Great Notion.
Yeah.
And it's starring Paul Newman, one of my favorite actors. And you and I had watched Cool Hand Luke. So Ken Kesey wrote Sometimes a Great Notion. Ken Kesey also wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And it was last year you and I took that day trip down to Salem, Oregon. Mm-hmm. And you can go to the mental institution where they filmed One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
And we went there. And it's cool to see, that's such an iconic movie, but when you see the displays for what they did to people there, how they treated them, it really leaves you with a really shitty feeling.
Yeah. It really did. It was pretty disturbing. But we did get to see the television that was used in the movie. They're all getting angry over.
Yeah, someone from the somebody from the that worked at that
on set
at that institution. Like after they had filmed the movie and they were breaking the set, like that TV that was so important in the movie that they're arguing over, they had just thrown it away. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if the guy was like a janitor or what his capacity was, but he grabbed it and saved it. Mm-hmm. And they have it in their little museum.
Yeah.
So we watched. And Mark from San Francisco sent me an email saying that he had gone to where the hotel that's used in The Shining is in Oregon. I didn't know that.
Cool.
So Sometimes a Great Notion, Ken Kesey who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and he was in Ken Kesey's. He was part of the Merry Pranksters that went around doing acid, and I think it was in the early 50s, before people knew what acid was. They went to Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco and handed out Kool-Aid with acid to families and to tourists, and that's in the Thomas Wolfe book, or Tom Wolfe, Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test. So anyway, too much back history. So Henry Fonda plays the father in Sometimes a Great Notion. They're an independent Oregon logging family, and they're tough guys, and they're assholes. And I like Paul Newman tells his wife he doesn't take anything the movie theater owner says seriously because he's in show business. Hilarious. The guy runs a movie theater and he's in show business. But they won't comply to the union's requests that's acting on behalf of a corporation. And then Henry Fonda, there's an accident and a tree severs his arm. And then he dies. And then at the end of the movie, Paul Newman, he's going to bring in this load of logs down the river himself. And he takes his father's severed arm out of the freezer. And then he ties up the fingers where the hand is given the fuck you middle finger. And then the end of the film is him floating by those union guys. Paul Newman is drinking a beer on the roof of the boat, and his dead father's severed arm is giving him the finger. And I told you when we met, before I ever came to Oregon, that was my impression of people from Oregon, was from that movie, that even after they're dead, they'll find a way to say fuck you. Yeah, and then I guess the other thing we should talk about that I think people would really enjoy is, and I've really enjoyed my time staying with you. It's been such a treat to explore Oregon, and then to be in Portland when such. Just being here with you is lovely, and then it just seems to be very of historic importance at the moment.
Yes.
What's happening in Portland. But we've been watching this show, and you chose it. You picked it out. It's on Netflix, and I absolutely love the show. It's called The Good Place.
Yes.
And what's the woman's name? Kristen Bell?
Yes. Yeah. Kristen Bell.
And Ted Danson is in it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know he had worn blackface.
I didn't know that.
Once before.
I can't get the image out of my head.
So why don't you tell us about describe The Good Place?
Oh my gosh, it's very good. So this girl Eleanor, this woman, she's an asshole in life and she dies, but she finds herself in this heaven-like place, and she definitely doesn't belong there, and she's just kind of dealing with that feeling and trying to figure out why she ended up in heaven when I think, like, what's his name? Ted Danson?
Ted Danson.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, he's like the architect of this branch of heaven. Like,
yeah.
Heaven is different neighborhoods, and he's the architect of this neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you die, you also meet your soulmate.
Yeah.
So Kristen Bell is there by mistake.
Right.
And she's with this guy, and I don't like her. She's like Matt Dillon in The Outsiders. There's like nothing likable about her.
Yeah.
And she's just... And I love that they show clips from people's life. And then they'll show clips of her life, and like, she was just such a rotten person. And it's just such a funny show. And then her soulmate is this guy named Chidi. And he's a nerd, and he's got glasses, and he was a moral ethics professor in his life. And so I love his character, because he's smart and into philosophy, and she is just the worst. She's just the worst person that could ever be matched with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool. There are a lot of plot twists. Yeah.
It keeps twisting and then the episodes are only like 20 minutes each. Mm-hmm. The characters and the actors are phenomenal, and it shows you what a great actress Kristen Bell is, because like, I don't like her, and that's her character is an unlikable person. Yeah. So like, that is the mark of a great actor.
I like all the Florida jokes.
Oh my God, John Yu is from Jacksonville.
Yeah,
all the Florida jokes are hilarious.
They're so good.
We guess we shouldn't give away.
Spoilers. I don't know.
I've spoiled everything on this show, but yeah, the fact that he's from Jacksonville and he's a Florida dude is really funny.
Yeah.
And so we just finished the first season of that. Going to start the second season. Mm-hmm. We got 2 Bootsy Collins records, 1 Parliament Funkadelic. We got 2 Curtis Mayfield records. I think we pretty much have all we need to survive.
I think so.
What other things? Because I got listeners all over the world. I don't have a lot of listeners, but the ones I have are cool, smart people sprinkled everywhere. What do you think people should know about Portland, Oregon right now?
What you should know about Portland, Oregon? That Tom and Syra are having the most magical time together ever. And I'm not sure what else to say.
That's okay. Fuck. Okay, but we're gonna cut that out. What should people know about Portland? Is it a safe place? Is it fun? Is it on the brink of civil war?
I think it's all of the above, really. In it just depends on what spaces you're going into. Depends on who you are. I think that America is on the brink of civil war, but we're staying safe, and we're having a magical time. We're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it seems like America's on the brink of something. Yeah. And it ain't good.
It ain't good.
Whatever it is. Yeah. So make sure you got plenty of funk music, everybody. And that your neighborhood is just it's like wilderness here. There's blue jays.
And hummingbirds.
Mm-hmm. And you've been throwing out peanuts for the big black ravens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Carry peanuts with me to feed the crows, actually. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Pretty awesome.
Okay, well, let's put our shorts on and go down to Poets Beach. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to Tom Rhodes Radio Smart Camp. Is there any factoids about Oregon? I should have just said goodbye.
I'll get back to you.
Okay, I love each and every one of you. And shalom, amigos y amigas, and long may you run.
Bye.
Hooray for humanity.
Tom Rhodes, you're a funny man. Tom Rhodes, you're an international comedian. Tom Rhodes, karate kick, baby, oh yeah. Tom Rhodes, you're a groovy dude. You go all around the world, telling jokes to all of the people. You are an international comedian. You're funny to everybody in every single country in the world. Tom Rhodes, I like you very much. I think you're talented and very wonderful. Tom Rhodes, you're the best guy in the world. I wanna be your friend, you should call me sometime. Here is my phone number, 603-644-0048. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tom Rhodes, you're an international comedic sensation. Tom Rhodes, I like to listen to your podcast. Tom Rhodes, you're the best man to ever walk on the earth.